Hello, 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 and welcome everyone to the 24th Techspressionism Virtual Salon. I am your moderator and fellow artist, Davo Bradley. With me is Colin Goldberg, who coined the term Techspressionism. And we have two wonderful presenters today with Lee Schnaiberg. Am I saying that correctly? Yes?
It's close.
Schnaiberg. Okay, Schnaiberg. And Malavika Andrew.
Yeah, hi.
And hi. And today it's going to be the typical format where we have our two presenters give their presentations that are going to be around 30 minutes apiece. And then after each presentation, there will be a 15-minute or so Q&A session with the presenters. And then after that, it's kind of just a free open discussion as per usual. We usually kind of wrap back around to the presentations, but we've been known to deviate away from that and talk about all sorts of things. That being said, I am very tired, so I apologize if I might actually nod off for a second, but it'll be all right. Just yell at me. It'll be okay. And just want to say thank you all for being here. Thank you for your participation, and thank you for making these meetings great. And I will say, as just a common courtesy during the presentations, please keep your mics muted, but feel free to leave questions in the chat if questions come up during the presentation. And then I will make sure that they get to the appropriate person to be answered by the time the presentation is over. So if a thought does come to you, put it down in the chat and I will see it. I'm always looking at the chat. So that being said, let's get started, shall we? If that's okay with everyone here. Malavika, you ready to go? Maybe, partly, possibly. Still setting up? It's all good, no rush. And here comes the yawns. I promise it's not because you all are boring, it's because my body is being tired and I have no control over this. I thought I did. Apparently thought wrong. It is, yep, we have visual confirmation, so you have the floor.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Malavika. Already Davo has introduced you people. Thank you for giving me the platform for showing my work. Though I have showed earlier also, but it was a very short and I managed to present in a very short way, but now it's quite lengthy. So if any explanation you feel requires, please ask me again and again so that I want you people to satisfy with my answers. So basically, I'm a textile designer, and along with that, I'm an artist, but I'm a tapestry artist. So just first slide, what I have showed is my previous work, just to give you a background about what I was doing earlier till 2003. So different mediums like weaving, printing, but only traditional print, weaving and printing I was doing. We were not at all into computer designing. So I was not at all having any grip on either Corel, Photoshop, or any kind of design development on computer. So the thing happened that while working in the academic colleges and in different textile industry, I slowly developed this skill. And in 2007-8, when I was planning for family, but because of certain things, couldn't manage to achieve the goal. So it happened like they told me that you have a stress problem. So what I did, I left my job and I was at home. So that particular time, it happened that I was not getting how to kill my time, how to solve. Though I was started again doing this small work, but it was not happening that way how I used to work till 2003. Because 2003 till 2008, it was a time when I was very much busy with my office work. So I was not getting much time to do. So now the thing happened, like I'll just proceed further so that I can explain. Okay, see, these are from the exhibition of tapestry. Now the thing happened that when I started weaving, I was not getting, how to finish the work. So suddenly I just started working on the computer, and that worked out much better. And that's how my development of the uh, digital part started. So I just wanted to give little background so that because I'm not a very professional way of doing it, I enjoy and I do it. I don't follow a particular system for getting my result. I want my result. So by hook and crook, what I want, I'm doing it. So there is no, if anybody will ask me how you reach to this particular effect, maybe I'm not able to explain in a very clear way. So basically my work involves photography, then a little bit of drawing what I do. So I scan, I use that, and different textures of weaving, or sometimes I'm doing the work and again I'm scanning and reusing it. So whether it is a tapestry or my current work, everywhere 5 elements of our life is there. That is either water, fire, wind, and so the time when it is started going, there is an addition of different uh, different experience of my life, but the elements are already always there. So I just sharing some photographs, like I keep on clicking, which I have in my galleries. Like this is related with different skies. Earlier one was related with the water. So these are like in and around, we have water tank, huge water tank. So I have taken a lot of photographs of that. Then Mumbai is nearby sea area, so quite a bit time I have visited. So wherever I go, I keep on clicking photographs. So now here the thing what I was talking about in 2008 when I sat for 2007 I should say. So earlier what tapestry you saw, it was a 6-7 feet high. From there this work is just not even 5 inch. So I reached to this size. I mean still it was like non-manageable. But along with that I started little bit of adding of prints. So those prints were more of design elements, and this like this I have done on transparent sheets. So I'm weaving by creating my surface. Now the place where I belong, means I born and brought up, that is a very it's a pilgrimage space and full of nature. I mean, my backside was jungles and rainy rivers. And from there, I used to dream like, let me go to seaside, I can see lovely waves. But when I reached Bombay, it was full of only skyscraper building. So, I mean, if you see this image, the top 2 lines are of my previous place, and the bottom 2 lines are of my current place where I am residing. So it's like literally I have to go at least 6-7 kilometers to see the sea. Whereas earlier it was just, I mean, I just have to turn and I can see everywhere greenery. So this, and along with the my all around the nature which is not available, these made a lot of changes in my work. This is the, you can say, the first digital collage I developed. During that time, tsunami has affected in and around area, not nearby us, but it's little far, you can say, not little. Also, it is like the edge of another side of the India. So those, along with maybe the stress I was going through it, I started working these kind of images. The image itself is containing two, three, like Ladakh is a hilly place, and the waves are from seaside. So I started building up layer by layer. So always like I mean, how in human being also different layers by layers we are putting together in our experience. Similarly, in my work also, layer is one. I mean, I understand the Photoshop or work itself is a layer, but I have used it as a requirement of my work. I hope I'm audible and it is visible. Okay. So next was like I was finding that time lot of these kind of waste material that was popping up. So all these things were in and around me. I started using that. But that time it was just a starting. This is maybe second or third. I have just selected few. So I'm just showing. And one more thing, what I was finding interesting, yeah, I can do color and black and white, which when I was doing painting, I was not having all these options. Even tapestry, I cannot get those option of having two different section of at a time together. So slowly, when I was getting used to with the computer concept, I really started enjoying. And this went for my first exhibition in 2008, where I tried to show like I traveled from a small city, a small town to a city. So for my fulfilling my goals. So the title itself is unlimited progress. Means for my progress, I am moving from one city to another city, thinking that yeah, this will be my place where I can settle, where I'll be satisfied. But when I reached Bombay, I found everything is like, more is there, more is there, and I don't know where to go. So that was the thing I tried to show through this collage, digital collage. The benefit of again digital, or I say Techspressionism, is that I can play around with the forms. So the same staircase I have used, but the drawing I made in one time, but I started using prolonging in a different way. I started merging with these I cannot think of doing with my hands. So this is the thing which again started attracting me towards this digital part. This is like I'm aware of everything, still I'm covering my face and uh, don't want to see what is going to come. Now I'm going to the next stage where I started developing my different layered landscapes. And this now my work is not only limited to the digital area. I'm using the digital in my mixed medium work. So now I will show certain works where I have used this landscape in the digital part, also along with the mixed media part. Uh, I take that also as a part of my digital area. So images, as I said, I click photograph also, and I take sometime from the net also, but I'm not using exactly how it is. So the thing is, I thought of, as I am a textile designer, so I thought of making a small storyboard which will relate to you like how I am using. I have tried my best to put all the images which I've used, but I don't know it's okay or not. So see, these are certain images of my buildings which I have clicked in and around my city. Now this is a mixed media work. Background is full digital collage, which I have removed the print, but the front staircase what I am using is actually a fabric cut and pasted on that. And these you can make out, maybe these are like all stitchings. So I am mixing the digital and my textile part. This my distance. I mean, the way I have traveled from the small city, small town to a big city. So this distance always used to make me feel when I'll go back, or at the same time, I felt so fast I reached to Bombay. I mean, the time when I reached, it was like a Bombay city is like, if you reach there, it's like you're reaching to a USA. It's like that kind of feelings. So that with that kind of feeling, I have developed these. Again, I'm just showing for the medium. Here there is nothing there of digital collage, but the concept is flowing. Again, that same staircase I have used in the digital collage. This is totally done on computer. I remember that there was a time for me the mountain was the highest thing. But when I reached here, I used to feel like, the skyscraper buildings are like a staircase. I have to climb, like that kind of feel I used to get. And that feeling is like, reaching to the sky. So maybe you'll find some of the images, it is cut. I mean, the building is not ending. You will not see the top. The same water tank, I used to get the feel of like a globe. So I have used that form, like reaching in a and like dashing to the globe, dashing to the earth. And again, the distance, like because it is like sea, then mountains, and then the ice mountain. So I'm traveling again. These images I have developed, but I have not used in my work. In this sense, I have not displayed anywhere. But this is the process I have learned from the text precision artist, how process is important. And because of today's presentation, believe me, I have gone back to again what I was doing. And I tried to recollect what it is only. So I found that conflict, disturbance, stress, all these are also there in my work, which I was not aware of. So from these two images, actually I reached to this is the final image, where I've tried to show, I don't know how you people are aware of or not, but in our country, there is always stress going on in the border related to the religion part. So this I have tried, we are thinking, we are fighting about the religion, but the important is our nature, which we are not taking care, which we are not thinking of. So in these lines, whatever designing elements you see, actually it is a religion symbols I have converted into a design form. You can see the cross is also like a sort of, I mean, everything is like Om or what I should say, a Muslim logo also. Everything I have created into a design form so that it should not be very eye-sticking. Again, a similar concept related to that only, that I have created the coconut like a earth. So I'm cutting that and everything is busting out. I'm encroaching everywhere, but not thinking about I need the earth also need the water also need a space where it will go. So it will bounce us back. Again, going back to the mixed medium work, reason of showing is, if you see, I have used a print, which is, if I don't know whether you can recollect in the starting when I was showing black and white, and I said that I like the best part is the same image I can get black and white and colored. So those images I have printed and used here. Again, it is a mixed medium work. Concept is always involving skyscraper and the land area. This is again digital collage. On that, I have used these small colors. These are 7 colors actually, that I have removed all the colors of the nature and I have kept inside my house. So if you see, it's almost like a small rectangular house concepts. And I have woven this. The reason is I tried to show that I am weaving the nature as per my requirement. This is it's trying to show how I try to work on the digital. Then I remove prints on canvas or paper, and later on again I am combining together. So this is one part of the work. This is second part of that same work, and this I got it converted. It is on the acrylic sheet I printed, and there is a felt, there is stitching. So I mean, here I again mixing the digital. So I cannot say that my work is only the digital collage is digital. Even in the mixed medium work, a lot of digital involvement is there. Again, I will not get this opportunity if I do only canvas to use that same space in a different way again. So if you see the behind one, the same image of the bottom, I have used again, showing that we in India, there are a lot of political parties are there. So everybody is concerned about them. But for reaching the goal, you need a unity. So we have a festival called Dahi Handi, where we meet the pyramid to reach the goal, to break the pot. So I have used that form to create this collage. Again, this I want to show because this is my one of the finished work in mixed media. This is again another work of mixed media, which I am using in my digital collage now. The reason of showing the mixed media is like I am dependent on not only on the photograph, on my work also for creating the digital collage. This is like again similar concept only, like I am bombarding on my earth for different getting my satisfactions to be fulfilled. And I've used different coins like Indian and dollar, different cents and all. And the background, if you see, is all different spiral way, different way my desires, spiral ladders are going ahead, which is again unlimited. On the digital collage, after printing, I have used stitches and gateway tracing paper to create this effect. On the digital collage, I have used acrylic engraving and stitches and cords for getting the final work. Digital collage, again printed on canvas, woven and stitched. This is again one more digital collage series from inspiration and realization. In the sense, we get inspired from the nature, but we go more beyond that to realize, to fulfill our desire. Now, this has helped me to develop the next. This is my mixed medium work. Without doing this previous work, I couldn't thought of achieving this next work, where I have printed this and I have cut in slot half the way, and I have created a 3D effect. This section, this is the front section. If I see the painting from the front without moving left and right, I will not able to see this red area. So that was I mean, there are a lot of hidden things are there which is happening, but we will come to know about those dangerous effect or the returns later on. same inspiration realization, digital collage. This I again want to express that this is again I create a small storyboard. The faces which you see is a leather batik, and just now you have seen already one of the work. This is again another mixed medium work. Now all these helps me to create my next developments. This was one of the theme for one exhibition called Shakti. Shakti means power. So we have one goddess called Durga, who is having, I mean, a lot of gods are, we are having third eyes. So the third eye meaning is that person or that character is having lot of powers, lot of brain, lot of it is very, she is very intelligent, or he is very intelligent. So to show that, they show the third eye. So that character I have used, but I have used these images to develop this work. So this is one, this is the second one, and this is the third one. So what I want to say that I am dependent on my mixed medium work also. This project I did when I got my Pollock Krasner. I given them that a project, we always need to put up a project. So my project was related with working with a tribal artist. Here there is a place where they create this art called Warli. They create basically for their on the walls for decoration, or for passing message that there is some functions at their home, maybe marriage ceremony, maybe baby shower. So for that they use. But now slowly the concepts gone little more ahead. Their main characteristic is in one surface they try to show multiple things. In one layer only they will show there is a house, outside the house they are playing, then there is a field where people are walking or they are walking, and there you'll find the ladies who are going for maybe getting the water. So in one surface, in one artwork they show all these characters. Now when I met this lady, her name is Samu. I asked her, have you experienced about a metropolitan city? So she was, because she was an artist and sometimes she used to come for selling her artwork in the fair. So I told her that I want you to make art related to the city life, what you have experienced. So she developed some art only for me for related to the city life. What I did after that, after getting all the images, I start understanding the style of doing it, understanding that how from, how they are affected with the new religion, because they were actually Hindu, but they are converted to now Catholic, because over there they are getting a lot of facilities from the Christian community. So if you see, they made this Last Supper. So I mean, these things after studying, I developed small works. Now this is a small work I'll show in the next image, where I've used her artwork. But what I have done, that this is the actual look of the artwork which you saw. But I have created two layers. The bottom layer, this brown side on the right, is the bottom layer what she have made. I have taken, again, digital helped me for this. So I have created the top layer which is on the gateway tracing paper. So when you fold this, when this come on the left side, come on top of the right side, you see the figures very properly merges with the bottom layer. And it is like they created a simple theme like removing water from the well. But in city, it is like a really, sometime when we don't have water, it is like so much tension, so much problems we have. And in the skyscraper building, you just imagine if you're staying in a 20th floor, so how you'll get the water. So I have tried to merge that concept with this. So I mean, here the inside the well, I have tried to show the skyscraper concept, and this is a road which is I'm trying to show that it is reaching so far, and underwater is very far away. Similar again, I did the 2 layer. If you see, the figures are in one box, so it is like a flat system. Over there, kids are playing outside in the open field, but in our we are in a one flat. So the game is like, if you see the brown area, they are playing this game is called Lagori, where the dice they keep on top of each other and then they are hitting that, and everybody is playing, making again the dice another layer, and that's the game. But here it is like from one window they are throwing to the another window. They are occupied with the computer. So I have layered again. We are encroached inside the 4 walls.
Hey, Malavika?
Yeah.
Roz is asking if you could go slightly slower with your speaking if you can. Is that okay?
Yeah, very much. I thank you for telling me.
Oh, no, that's fine. All right, sorry to interrupt. Go on.
Even you want me to move the screens also slowly, or only I should talk slowly? Screen is fine, right? Moving of the images. Okay.
Yeah.
So here I have this is a banyan tree, which we pray for this tree. Now, in the villages, we find quite a bit, but in the city, literally, we have to search for this. And so I have tried to show that behind also buildings and the front also, these are actually threads. So in between that, like a cage, the tree is there. And here I have used a radium. So when at night, if I switch off the light, only the tree is visible. This is like, again, Jay generally dance outside the house in an open field. But here, if I see all the buildings, so we are occupied with our dish TVs and all. And it is like, this is a 3D. I have made a spiral which is going out of the frame. A dancing form going out of the frame. But this is from the building. So it is like I'm trying to show that everywhere inside the building, the functions are happening. But in the villages, they have so much space that they can play, they can dance, they can celebrate, they have a feelings, they can meet. The Last Supper, which figure I showed, I have used here, like we are dividing the whole nature for our convenience. Again, depending on one tree, the whole birds I'm trying to show, there is no shelter for them. All the creatures, all the birds, all animals are depending on one tree. And behind I have used all the buildings, which is in a very shaded effect. So again, my digital helped me a lot in developing all these aspects. Now I'm going to the next, just 1 second, sorry, some images. Okay, this is actually by mistake, it had come early. I'll show later on. Now, I am into teaching. So I started in 2015. I started doing some workshop. I organized in a bank on a Teachers' Day, art teaching day. So I told everyone, whoever was coming, to do something. So what I did, I created some color space for doing their signatures or drawings. and I layered with a different layer of tracing paper, so that if anybody is not comfortable with the drawing, they can do it behind, underneath the tracing papers. And this later on, what I did, I developed it in a design form. First, I did some kind of drawings and connected them. And then I developed for them, each individual person who ever did, for them I developed this art and designs. Now, for reason of showing this, because from this my next step started, connecting. So I got connection in the bank with so many people, connected to them through my artwork, and developed this and got connected back to them. I sent individually everyone these artwork, that see, you can do it, you can draw it. See, your signature itself is looking nice. So if you see down on the bottom, the individually what they have written, that only I have used in the design form. It is just to make them feel that they can also draw. And there is no bar, no age bar, or even Rabindranath Tagore started at the age of 68. So I studied at that place. So I always try to push that thing everywhere. You can do it. Art is no language. So now when I did this, I was having time shortage problem. Now the problems I will be telling you, because that is the thing which helped me in developing my next concept. Problems, time squeezing, then planning not happening on time. These things made me do my next steps. The thing was, I was moving with my kid to all different places for the classes. So I started carrying a small notebook in which I was drawing. This again, gift. I say gift always helpful. I just saw one on Zoom meeting also related to how gifts are important, offerings are important. So this gift also I got it from someone. It's a very small notebook. So each page is connected, like how our day-to-day activity is connected. In my this book also, each page is connected. And if I fold and I turn the page and connect to the next one, you will find it is getting connected. So I'll just run a little bit because I know all of you are getting short of time. I think I'm. The next storyboard is related with one of my page, and this whole photographs I have taken in a church where I got married and where my son got first communion also. Now everybody is concerned about the making the church building very nice, but floor is in this condition, which is talking a lot about historically how old I am, how important I am on that story. So I used that and I played only with the form and the space for the next one. Now, when I started doing on the coral, I found that when I was doing this drawing, I scanned it. I found lot of graded effect on my drawing, the pencil grading effect, which I enjoyed. Whereas coral, when I'm developing on coral, it is making it smooth. So I thought of keeping the same drawing and developing these work. This is again mixed media work, and these are all again digital. As I said, the layers always making me flow. I have some plans that's always get subdued with my other responsibility. This glitch effect, I liked it because that making me the up one is the priorities and my plans, how to it get diffused. That is the thing I've tried to show. This is again a drawing I did for sending a gift, and then later on I have used for the collage. And this I'll just run it because I think quite a bit of you have seen on my Insta, because this is the development happened after meeting all of you, Techspressionism. Especially developed for, I mean, keeping that in mind. No, I have to, because if you see before that, I was not playing much with the forms. So in this, you'll find I'm playing now with the forms. I'm trying to create on the Photoshop. Actually, the previous work, whatever I showed, is not there in my Insta, because we have here is a problem that what we put it on social media can't display on the exhibitions and all. So I put very less images on the Instagram. Passing through the time, all these colored work is developed during lockdown. Generally, in my work, very less colors are visible. But when I got locked, maybe I remembered more the colors. Those were digital collage, but here it is totally digital art, I will say, because I have not used any ready photograph. What was there, I was playing with that. And this more on listening music. I like Hauser music, so I was listening that and I developed this. Now coming to certain photographs, during my lockdown, I've taken inside on my mobile phone. And I have used that in developing few of the last few images. I call this as a break the chain. This I'm calling as hope, because in my house it was like really is a mess continuously. I was not getting when day is getting over, when night is happening. So I'm hoping that this, step by step, these days will pass away. I used to watch from my window the greenery outside. So missing you. Everything was squares and rectangles. Expressionism itself was under. I can see you people in squares. So a phone square, TV square, everything was square, bed square. So all squares. I have mentioned this. Someone close, something far. Got good time with my family. Definitely. I don't think we could have thought of spending 1 month together inside the flat. I try to play with the this everything what I have done. I have clicked on the mobile and same screenshots again I have taken. So I got these grids, which I was enjoying. This I have given pixelating relations, because slowly, after some time, it became like now what to do. Everything was too much. And this is like the hope that sometime it will be back. Day, night, day. Really, I was not getting when the day used to get over when night. I mean, sometime I was sleeping at 6 o'clock morning, getting up at 2 p.m. Change the perspective. And the last one is square eyes. After watching everything, I feel now okay, our eye shape is now square. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
That was quite the journey.
Yeah, very long, I think.
All right. Well, I was definitely impressed. I'm sure most of everyone else was also impressed with what they saw and what they've heard from your presentation so far. So again, thank you very much for your presentation, for your art, and for being a part of the movement. So I think there was a round of applause already, but let's do another one for good measure.
Yay! Bravo!
Fabulous.
Thank you.
Bravo! Mm-hmm.
All right, now with your presentation, it was a bit longer than what we normally have been doing. So, and I want to make sure that Lee gets enough time, so we're not going to spend too much time on the Q&A session, if that's okay with everyone. I know we did have 3 questions early on in the chat. The first one came from Cynthia, so we'll go ahead and get those out of the way, and hopefully we'll have a little bit more time to come back to it after Lee's presentation. So just keeping that in mind. But Cynthia asked, let me get back to it. Should have copied and pasted this. Where'd it go? Okay. She wants to know, what kind of loom did you use to weave your work?
I use vertical loom, which because at Bombay we have a space problem. So I have a vertical bars, 2 bars with a bottom one stand is there. When I need, I just pull it together. Just stretch it, and I have bamboos, which I put it.
Okay. And then we have a question from Vernada a little bit later. Okay. She wants to know if you could say a little bit more about the piece that had the woven piece that was like blue and gold, and if you could speak a little bit more about your inspiration and thoughts on that particular piece.
Okay,
that was earlier on your presentation.
Yes, that particular golden with the blue one is a form I have developed inspired from the water, sea. And the form is little bit fish and a boat, a form I have created from that. And I've created the warp lines on top of a transparency. It's a thick transparency. We get it for printing. Even we use it for our computer print also. But I have taken a bigger size. I mean, at least it is maybe 2 feet by 3 feet, 4 feet height. And on that I have done. The printed area is a paper print, archival print. Is it okay, or my answer is satisfying?
Yes, it looked like it was a loom piece because there are like woven type elements to the construction itself.
But I have done directly on a transparent sheet, not on the loom.
Lovely.
That is not on the loom.
Lovely. Well, maybe that explains how the gold captures the light.
Yes.
I'm very interested in how that reflection component. So that would explain that aspect of it.
Yeah, even the framing is done in such a way that when they display, even the background wall color will be visible. That's the reason of using the transparency.
Yes, yes. It's wonderful, beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. And then we have a question from Roz. She actually has 2 questions, but I'm not sure if she would rather express those questions herself. But she wants.
I'll jump in. Thanks, Davo.
Yeah.
That was a beautiful presentation, Malavika. I know we spoke months ago, but wow, seeing the larger story is wonderful. It's like you're developing a language, and that's really interesting. My first one was, I'm curious how many layers you work with in your digital work.
difficult for me to say. It's quite a bit. My file size goes to sometime 1 GB. So you can understand.
Me too. Kept hearing you say everything's too much, and it does get to be too much, but I think we are evolving into some kind of new image made of images. To my second question was, all of us, and the square thing was great. We're all in squares, of course, pixels. But I also wanted to ask that, do you see the photograph as, I know I'm certainly starting to feel this way, that the photograph is just one element I load on the brush. It's like the characters of a word or something, you just take all these millions of photos. I don't know if you have this concept, but I wonder, do you have this concept at all, or the photos for you an artwork in themselves, which they can be, of course, but.
Can you ask again? I'm not getting what you asked me.
Yeah, I'm not good at asking questions. I go into
No, I am not good in. That's why I told in the starting. If you're not satisfied with my answer, please ask me again and again.
Well, do you see a photograph as an element that goes into a larger painting or artwork? We can go. Why don't we take it later? Because I know Lee.
Yeah, I think that is better. Yeah.
Okay.
Please, Lee, continue. I think that will be better that if we do the question answers later on. What do you say, Devo?
Or offline, it's okay. But thank you very much.
Yeah, we all kind of know where we all hang out. So even if we can't answer it here, we can always have a conversation.
Yeah, I think that is better. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. It was great.
I'll be happy to answer all of them. Thank you.
Yeah. That being said, if you are tuning in to see this, after the recording or after our scheduled time here, and you're watching this from YouTube, we're just about everyone here is free to reach out to on social media or in our Facebook group, or just leave a comment on YouTube. That's all of that works. You can get a hold of anybody that you see.
Devo, your Techspressionism is so good that here it is right now 12:30 night. And every time I attend till end, so you can understand.
Well, thank you for that. I really appreciate it. Okay, now, thank you again, Malavika, for your presentation, and we'll give you one last round of applause before.
Yay!
Yay! Thank you. All right. Now it's time for Lee. Are you ready to present, Lee? You're muted, by the way. There we go.
I'm Lee. Nice to meet you all. And I just heard about the Facebook group, so I'm really excited to join after we get off of this and look at everybody's work. I don't know if I fit in here. I hope I do, but I don't know. And one of the reasons is because I really straddle some kind of strange conflict between analog world and digital. And that's been going on since around 1993, when I used to be a VJ, and I was an analog VJ, and I was surrounded by a whole lot of emerging new digital technologies and a lot of digital VJs. And I ended up VJing in a band that was a 13-piece band, which the New Music Express said was the last great band of the 20th century. So it's kind of old school, and the band was like huge. It was like 2 drummers, 2 bass players, 3 guitars. It was a big cacophonous mess, and I'd VJ to that analog. So if we're doing something that was 150 beats, or well, maybe 100 beats, I'd make probably about 50 cuts at that time with my mixing board, and sort of sliding just in a subtle zone. So I've always played with the analog, and then on top of that, I also have been doing canvases that I paint and graphite and ink work, which is like started with a pencil and ink, and has moved on to pretty much to some digital work, some video. I've mixed around a whole lot. I'm actually looking right now for my folder that I set up for today. Oh, okay, I found it. And I don't know, am I sharing this? I hope I actually.
Yeah, we can see the folder.
Okay,
Hopefully,
so
when you pull up the image, it'll.
yeah, that's now it's a white screen. But yeah, this is my journey. Okay, so this one is a mixture of my pencil and
Oh, hold
ink.
on. 1 second, Lee. If you shared that specific window, it's only going to be capturing that window. So you should probably share like your entire desktop screen instead, so that when you open a new window, that it also shows that new window as it pops up. Because otherwise, it's just going to keep showing the folder that you opened first.
Okay, so let's look at how we do. Oh, desktop. Okay, so if
Yep.
I show desktop,
Yep.
and then I go back and I open the folder, that might work. And I apologize for being a bit of a techno.
Oh no. It's this is actually kind of a fairly regular thing that happens, so it's all good.
So I actually planned on. Oh, okay. I planned on showing a second folder. This is jumping very far ahead. Okay, so the pen and ink. Okay. So these are the pen and inks that go into that blow up into. This is a triptych, 6-foot triptych. But that's not really why I came here today. This is just showing where I sort of come from, and I still do those. Now this is a sort of introduction to what I've been doing for the past 2.5 years now. I found I stumbled upon this neat effect I was getting with panoramas in my sister gave me an iPhone 8, and so I was tweaking it and playing around with it, and I found this kind of effect that I could get. So this is no Photoshop, no After Effects, nothing. This is just straight out of my camera. And then we had lockdown. So during lockdown, I'm fortunate that I live 3 blocks away from this park that's about 600 acres. So it's like just in the center of Montreal. It's called Mount Royal. There's a mountain, it overlooks the city, and there's happens to be right a block, maybe three blocks from my house, is this statue of an angel, which I've revisited thousands of times now at different, usually at sunrise, at dawn, golden hour, sort of skirting between those. So this is a golden hour version of the angel. Here's another one, same day. And this is a different day, same angel again. So I seem to revisit the same imagery regularly. I have about, maybe 10 different themes that I've been working on with this panorama effect. And then about 1.5 years into it, I found the term intentional camera movement. And I thought, wow, there's other people doing this. But of course, the ICM people are usually people who have like, $1,000 cameras. And they're like, I set this on the B and I'm using this kind of lens. And I'm like, okay, I'm just grabbing my iPhone. This isn't the same group. And then I found the Rogue Pano group. And on Facebook, there's a Rogue Pano group, which actually, if you go to Rogue Pano on Facebook, you'll see that I'm the, what do they call it? They have a sort of image at the top of the screen, and I'm that right now. But and then some of those people and some of the Rogue Pano people on Instagram were like, hey, you got to join our Flickr. So I've been meeting a lot of the older Rogue Pano people, and by older they go all the way back to the iPhone 4, and there's a filmmaker, John Lean, and there's a couple of photographers. Everybody's got their own style, and I definitely have carved my own little niche in there. This one is a new phase I've been going through of street art, which is sort of corny, but I find the lines that they have on the street and the Rogue Pano effect, like I can get some really neat effects. And in Montreal, Leonard Cohen is sort of the patron saint of the city. And there was a construction site the other day where Leonard Cohen was overlooking it, I decided. So there's only one Leonard Cohen up overlooking the city. Actually, there's two. There's one downtown and there's one in my neighborhood. But I've literally been in a 6-block radius. So this is in my neighborhood. There's one Leonard Cohen, but he's pretty looming, and this is just straight formalist kind of experimentation with grids that I saw at this same construction site where Leonard was. I noticed these grids, and I don't know if you noticed this area here had one sort of mesh, and I was like, okay, well, let's see what happens with that mesh and with the steel grid. So that was kind of exciting. I just kind of gathered a whole bunch of these images to show the range of the exploration that I've been going on. This is such a fixation now. I wake up about 3 in the morning so I can get out the door at 4, so I could get magic hour and dawn, and the colors every day. There's different colors, and as you can see here, the effect can really sort of abstract the city, but you still see the photo aspect. Like this building right here is a very emblematic kind of building in Montreal. It's the McGill Medical Office, and so like when Montrealers see these, they say they're very much Montreal, whereas a lot of other people say no, it could be any city. It's sort of an expressionist or impressionist, depending on which way the camera works. But again, I don't know if I fit into the Techspressionism world or not. I mean, because it seems like you guys all have fantastic printers and are a lot more adept with the technology. I wish I was. I feel like I sort of battle with it. This one I really like because it looks like a plasma explosion. I actually sold this. And the other thing that's really interesting about these is because they're panoramic, they're 50 inches tall, wide. The height is 50 inches and the length is as long as you can keep it going. So I have a lot of these that are 18 feet by 4 feet. And yeah, this one I sold. The guy told me he wants it straight resolution and exactly the way it is. And I was like, do you have an 18-foot wall? And he realized no. So he asked if I can shrink one down and make him a 3-foot piece. And so it's 3 feet by 18 inch. But I print them up on aluminum so that they'll last. And also because a lot of them, that when people buy them, I haven't made a ton of sales, but when people do buy them, sometimes they're over 6 feet. And I figure, look, I can do it on archival paper for you, but you're gonna have to get a nice frame and you're gonna have to get a lot of stuff that if you get it on aluminum, I'll sign it right on the back of the aluminum and you can hang it. We can make a floating box. It'll float off your wall and you don't have to get a frame. You're not gonna be spending, I mean, I don't charge enough to like the frame would cost, it would blow my mind how much the frame would cost. This one I find very interesting because not only did I get the city and the colors, but this one cloud right in the middle kind of looks like the eye of Sauron from the those Ring movies. So I thought that was quite an interesting effect. It's only ever happened once. This is actually my backyard. Those are some stairs that go up to my landlord's and a fence in the snow. So, but it really creates some kind of, they can get a lot of mileage out of this. And I mean, I love going up at sunrise, but I always walk around and if I see a grid or a fence or something, maybe, right now, summertime, I've been going on a bender with fat flowers. I hope I have some of them because I did gather about 100 or so images that I thought were nice, but I have a couple that are from today, but I certainly hope I got some flowers in here because the flowers, this one's quite interesting. These are a swamp right in the middle of the mountain where I climb every day. There's this swamp, and I guess because of so much talk over the past couple of years about swamps, draining swamp or whatever. I'm like, I like my swamp. I don't really need it drained, but sometimes I get these amazing effects with the water in the swamp. Um, I'm looking for another piece that I'm looking for some pieces that aren't just the mountain. I mean, I love this mountain and I love the effects, but this one's really interesting because I don't know if you notice how many of these the cross-country skier ended up in the frame. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Like I was just shooting this fence because I thought, okay, I like when you get a grid and you can put it into this panoramic effect. But then I heard this cross-country skier coming by and I just thought, okay, well, he's not going to know. You know, most people when they walk by me, they see me with the camera, but they see me like going like this. So they figure like that's too weird and they just keep on going. Occasionally people run up to me and they're like, did you put me in the camera? You shouldn't put me in the camera. And I've often like shown them the photo. I'm like, you don't even see your face and there's like 8 of you and like, you know, so far I've always gotten, you know, I can sort of bring some peace to it, but you know, people don't want to be photographed and I understand that. I appreciate that. Sometimes I get this sense with these that they're impressionistic when I get the right angle, but this kind right here, I feel is like reminds me of like an Anselm Kiefer painting from the 80s, like you're really a neo-expressionist kind of these jagged lines and then, you know, I can't help it sometimes when I see a grid or a pattern, I'm like, well, what can we do with this? And this one I called unknown pleathers, like fake leather, but you know, a take on the album cover that everybody has turned into a t-shirt, the Joy Division. This one was pretty popular with people recently, I guess because I have so many times stuff that's got trees and sunrise, and then I had a green, and people are like, oh, love this green, it's great. Oh, I had this already, sorry. Why am I repeating? I shouldn't be repeating, there's like over 100 here. So some more, this is like my latest addition has been the street lines. I try to see what I can do with them if I can. And here you'll notice there's another, like I have a couple of moves that I've developed. And one is sliding sideways so that the horizontal becomes a vertical. And that's why you get these kind of curves. And so, yeah, I have a number of moves. I'm looking for, I thought I'd have a bunch of these up and down, which somebody in the Rogue Pano world told me is an infinity move because you make an 8 with these. I just kind of actually with these, it sounds a little hokey, but when I walk out in the morning and it's totally empty in the day, like part of me is like just go through the process and making images, and I don't know what to do with them. I have about 20,000 of these now. But the other is like, for me, it's part of it is just the process. And in that, it's almost like a meditation. And so when I do these ones in particular, I have a little, it sounds a little hokey, but I have a little mantra that I sort of chant while I'm doing these pieces. And somehow I feel like by doing it, it kind of makes them stronger. These are some of these infinity ones are some of the hardest ones to actually get going. Like, and if you'll notice up here in the top, oh, I think I've already hit the next. Oh, or here up in the top, you'll notice there's these big black parts. It's like the algorithm for the panorama in the camera sort of gives up, or it just says, no, we're not gonna fill that in. And I remember when I was first doing these, some people would say to me, oh, that looks great, but you should zoom in or crop the black part. And I thought, okay, but you know, if somebody asked me, like, I want to buy a piece and I just want this without the black, I'd say fine, but I'm going to let them know, you know, even when somebody asks for one that's like a 3 foot by 2 foot or whatever size they want, I sign it as one of the prints, like a one edition. And I promise I'm never going to do another one of that size. But if I ever get a chance to show in a museum and I get a chance to put an 18 by 20 up there, I'm going to print it and make that as an agreement with them going forward. And so far, I haven't had anybody say no. And I think they realize that if it ever does, I mean, if it ever does get into a museum, then their piece is going to be worth a little bit more. So I guess they're like, okay with the deal of me being able to print a larger edition. Here's another move I've kind of been working on, and I developed, where I can flip upside down. This is actually sunrise, right at the beginning of sunrise, and in the movement, if you do it well enough and you get a flow, you can actually flip. So I flipped over 180 here, which is like I said before, it's kind of, I do kind of wrestle with the technology, and it's analog. Like, it's how am I moving? Can I get the movement to keep on going? Can I get the movement to include little piece areas? Another aspect of this that some of the older rug panel people talk about is like here, where oh, in the top, oh, it's gone. Okay, I'll find another place where it's an example, but they call this move called brushing the teeth, which I think is the funniest name I've heard. But like here, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 suns right over here, and that move, you have this. It's kind of like this, but more with the foam. But you're kind of getting that up, down, up, down, up, down, and if it catches, it keeps on building in the panorama. I mean, I don't want to give away all my secrets here, but there's me. That's a self-portrait. That's another thing. I've got the streets, the angels, the mountain, and then I often do these kinds of self-portraits where I could do a rogue panel, but then catch myself in the shadow. It was another self-portrait, and I have these, like, depending on the day and depending on the light. Usually it's in the same spots. There's a couple of spots that are primo for self-portraits, but depending on what part of the golden hour or what part of the magic hour, get different lighting and different. I mean, sometimes these really remind me. I haven't seen any yet. This one's getting really close, but there's another thing that I've been doing pretty much for the past year and a half, in 5 seasons now, is this pool. It's an abandoned pool. It's in the mountain, but it's like right on the base of the mountain. And originally it was for the nursing school, for a museum, for a hospital. The hospital's closed. For a while, the university was using the pool, but then people climbed the fence in the middle of the night and somebody drowned in the pool. So it's been abandoned. It's covered in graffiti, and I sure hope I have some of them here, because it's been a fixation with me. And I've got 4 seasons of this pool, which these are, by the way, from this morning. It was a beautiful color this morning. I threw them into the mix because I was like, "Wow, these are." It was really nice colors today, and I mean, my palette is dictated by if it's a cloudy day or if it's 30% clouds, which was today, which is a perfect amount for good color, or 10% clouds, and then you get some color, but you don't get quite as much, and then this is, again, I'm in a 6-block radius because of lockdown. So this is just up the corner of my street. Somebody has some interesting fencing, and I'm always looking for something. Or like, once the sun's up and the city's about to start, then my seclusion ends and the bikers come out. And when I can capture them, I'll do something. But that's not really a rogue pano. That happens if you use a panorama on a moving. You try to get a car. This one I did sell. This one is 6 foot by 3 foot. And I was flattered that somebody wanted it. I'd love to show these in a gallery, or, I don't know. I can't even imagine a gallery could fit the right size for the walls, because they're, I mean, again, this is 4 feet tall. This is, I mean, 4, 8, this is over 6 feet, 16 feet, easy. So, I mean, I love the way they look when they're full resolution and full size. So I have to find a way and maybe find some people with bigger houses or something. But well, I really appreciate you letting me show these to you, and I love feedback or advice or anything. This is what happens when it's very overcast and there's gray sky and not too much. I'll start trying to figure out how can I break the plane of the treescapes. And I have a video. I do sometimes do these video slideshows where I'll dissolve between images, and I have Billie Holiday singing "Pennies from Heaven" on a whole series of these trees with just blue, no, just broken in trees. But yeah, I find that depending on the day, depending on how much clouds there are, my palette is constantly changing, and I'm sure at some point I'll move on to something. But right now, I feel so inspired by this and this opportunity, and I got the iPhone and I took a couple of photos, and I was like, okay, I'm a painter more than a photographer or filmmaker. I've never really been a photographer. And then I saw the panorama, and so I started saying, well, can I do something with this? And I started pushing it around, and it took a good month and a half to really try to really see what I can get. This again is my backyard. This is my neighbor's fence and my fence, with just snowed, so I got these really nice triangles. And once this started happening, I just thought, wow, okay, here's a new thing new way that I could express myself. I love this one. I don't know if you guys have the me and Davin, like everybody on this side, or if you can see the photos here. With the person up on the top of the stairs. I think that one's, it's got this crazy drama, and it's like, this is like on the climb up the mountain, and I usually try to stay away from people, but I often, when I'm right at this corner, this is the only time I got somebody like right in the corner, but I'm always like, oh, I wonder if I can get somebody here. And it's, and then this is, again, that's the brushing of the teeth. Am I playing with fences? I think I haven't gotten too many of those angels. I have about 500 of those angels, and the flowers, so much of the flowers too, but I don't see them. I see more streets. I apologize, I didn't have a full range. I was sure I would, well, we might still find some flowers, but the lines and the grids and the street lines, being able to play with these things that are usually so rigid, but making them a little wild and chaotic, and taking this, like the street lines that tell you how to walk, and they're like, you walk this way, you stay in these bars, and you adhere to these rules. And here's a really nice sort of expressionistic piece. But I love the idea of like challenging these things. When I was VJing, I was also doing these documentaries about how to stop climate change. I did those for about 10 years. And I used a lot of found footage. I always break rules. I don't mean to, but it's sort of in my nature or something. But and that's still a fixation of mine. I actually, when I'm not making art, I work with this group called the Air Miners, and a new group that just asked me to be involved, the Open Air Collective, and they're all ways that do the CDR, carbon dioxide removal. So it's kind of, I don't know how carbon dioxide removal fits in with this, but it's definitely breaking paradigms and you know, I'm not, you know, I'd rather find a way that we can get out of this situation we're in. And I don't know if these photos have anything to do with it aside from like helping me in the morning. I love this. I love when like these bars turn into they remind me of that movie The Matrix, where Neo turns all the bullets, he freezes all the bullets just before they fall down. And these, I mean, these bars are really helpful because these bars help you not fall over the edge of the mountain. But at the same time, I love when they break apart and become these floating little things. It's to me, it's really neat to play with matter and take something that's so rigid and solid and then make it into fanciful work. Here's another version of that with the flying little pieces. And there's another one of mine I hope I have here. I'm pretty sure I would have included it, where those bars just become like some of the most luscious little shapes. Here, I don't know if you can see this whole section down here. To me, it's just like something so wild, and like there's a little bit of daylight catching onto these bars to make them light up. So there's a little bit of serendipity in this work, and then these moves, like to get the bar to do this thing, is that what that guy calls the brushing the teeth move. They call this brushwork, and I mean, when I look at it, I do see it looks sort of like an really old oil painting that's been cracking or something. But I don't know if it's really brushwork. It's more like it's the hand and the wrist and how you shake the camera. I've been working on these new moves recently. I was on the mountain today and I had these moves which I thought were like pulling taffy and then pushing it together, or like an accordion, doing that with the two corners of the bottom corners of the phone. And that would create this sort of tension that creates a new repeating of the imagery. This was a lovely day on Mount Royal. The top of Mount Royal was very icy and wet, and the lamps were still on, but the sun was probably already up, just not in Montreal. And yeah, I just thought this is winter in Montreal. And it's, I mean, this is toothbrushing again, getting it to repeat and repeat and repeat. Here, I did get some flowers. Okay, this was just the other day, a few days ago, on the top of the mountain. They oddly enough, they planted a whole bunch of edible herbs and kale on the mountain, and purple kale, so it's really beautiful. But they I just love when taking the colors from the tree, the plant life, and being able to, that's an old man on the phone, on a bike, no, here, and being able to create these shapes with the plants. I mean, because really, if I just took a regular picture and showed it to you, there's like one carnation. I think there's a little bit of that purple kale here. There's like one purple kale, some sage there, but it's like just regular flowers. It's not creating some kind of a wave or something. But that's what I definitely enjoy doing. This was a guy that fortunately did not notice me. And another one, these are both yesterday, and a strange occurrence with this guy. He just totally disappeared. And then this is another thing they call in the Rogue Pano world, they call this BUBAR, in all caps, blurred, BUBAR, beyond all recognition, blurred up beyond all recognition or something. No, brightened up beyond all recognition. And this is right when I leave my house before I even get into the park. So this is a block and a half from my house. I see this building downtown that has a pyramid on the roof. And when I shoot it, it's usually like 4 o'clock in the morning. It's dark it's dark. I barely have anything in the image, but then I pump it up, and they call that. I mean, I do that right on my phone. I not no Photoshop, but everything I'm doing is straight off the telephone, off of the iPhone. But the blurred up beyond all recognition has a neat little effect when you blur and you change the was it vibrancy, and like there's like about 5 or 6 different options on the iPhone itself. So that's where these kinds of images come from. They're usually really too dark because it's way too dark. It's got to be 45 minutes or an hour before the sun's up. And this is back on my way to the house, and again, half a block away from my house because of COVID, and we're all in, we got lockdown, and so I don't go too far. But I've always loved this guy's staircase, the paint of it, and I've shot it about a dozen times easy. And this is again this morning. It's a boo bar, right as I'm walking out the door, on my way to go and shoot these photos. I think you can see the pyramid building right there, and it's super dark out, but I'm just brightening it as much as I can in the phone. And actually that I did before I even before I even climbed up. So my house is right about there, and this is staying within the 6-block radius that I've been given, which I'm really grateful for. And again, another blurred street art. This is the angel that's right. Usually I see the angel when I leave, when I'm finished my my trip, or the beginning, like depending on where I start going 1 block up or 1 block down, I'm going to pass the angel either at the beginning or the end of the day. So like this is blurred, but it's already it's well past golden hour, so it's kind of maybe cheating a little bit, but I mean, I've shot about 500 of those angels, so I can't really. And that's that was it. So thank you so much for watching these. How do I do this now? Stop share. Okay, stop share. Stop share. Thank you so much thank you so much.
Thank you. No, thank you. That was a wonderful presentation. And just want to say, because as you were saying, I was like, yeah, no, you fit in. You're fine. Like there are actually other artists in here who actually do something similar to what you do. Not quite the same way, but there are definitely other artists who are like yourself in this movement. Tommy actually was commenting quite a few times, and he does work that's kind of similar to what you do, but he also does a lot of photography work that's mostly digital, and it's amazing. But yeah, you fit in. Just you're not an outsider here. You are among peers and friends with this.
Thanks. Well, and Tommy, I look forward to seeing your stuff. Definitely look forward to seeing. And I mean, I love Collins, and I haven't seen yours now, and I really want to. I heard nice things about your stuff, so.
I do a lot. When it comes to my work, I'd say that the single consistent thing about my work is that it is incredibly inconsistent given any time period. So, like, it has similarities, but yeah, I'm pretty all over the place with my craft. But yeah, but anyway, you do have some questions that I hopefully want to try and get to before we get to the end of our recording time. First one was from Sherry. She wants to know, do you only print on metal? That's the first part of the question, and then the second part comes from if yes.
Well, so far I have only printed on metal. I have a really nice printer here that I'm working on fixing. I don't know, we think that the heads are erect, so I haven't printed any of the Rogue panels on with this printer, and I have a really nice printer right down the street from me, which has pretty good paper. And then the printer I work with, who I do the aluminum, they have archival paper, and and canvas too. But I haven't had any opportunity yet. But if somebody wanted one on paper, sure.
Yeah.
But sorry.
With the aluminum, she wants to know: do you use gloss or semi-gloss? And then on clear metal or white?
White. I definitely use the white, and I like semi-gloss rather than gloss, just because when people have it in their house, I don't want it to shine too much.
Yeah.
But I really like the white because I like signing them, and I like, it might be cheesy, but I like signing it and not just signing my name and the date and the title, but also, especially when it's somebody that I know, thanking them and having their name there, so that if ever they're worth something and they want to sell it, there's a story behind it, and they might even, they're included in it for whatever that's worth.
That's really neat. But I'm right there with you, because I also print on metal, and yeah, I've actually got some of those same feelings. I hate the actual like regular gloss. I always go for like mid or semi.
Yeah, mid gloss, semi gloss is definitely
Yep.
the way to go.
Tommy's showing off his.
Oh, nice. Oh, dude, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Yeah, and I mean, I was jealous of Colin's printer before. I mean, when I saw his printer, I'm like, oh wow, like how I'd love to have a big printer. Ironically, I live in this house that was this printmaker lived here, and she died in the 90s. Her son got the house and didn't really want to deal with everything, so I have this awesome deal. My rent is super cheap, but there's 2 rooms in my house that are printing equipment, and I have an old printer, like with a big metal plates, that kind of printer, and I'd love to. And then I have a really nice printer myself. I'm not. I've seen a couple of printers in the back here, that I've been like, wow, a bunch of people have nice printers. Um, I love that. But right now, the pieces are so big, size wise, that I just feel like anybody I were to sell one to would have to spend a fortune on the printing. And then I'm like, I'm not only on printing, but spend a fortune on the framing. And I'm like, well, hmm, you know,
Yeah.
I don't know. We should give that money to the artist.
Right.
Cut it halfway. Sorry. Any other
Oh,
questions?
we have a couple more. There's 2 actually that are fairly similar. And Renata, I'll get to you. There were just questions in the chat that came first, so I will definitely get to you. Next question comes from Renata, who is asking, have you ever tried using Flash on like a super cloudy day or really cloudy day with your work?
Flash. I mean, I occasionally I take like a few, like I have gotten into like taking some still images just to sort of document, like, this is what it looks like when it's not, tweaked, with the cell phone. And sometimes I leave the flash on, so I'm like, oh, there's a flash. Good morning, and but I haven't figured a way that I can use a flash with the panorama. Um, and sometimes, God, I wish, because I got to say, like, the panoramas are so much darker than the regular images. It's amazing. Like, for some reason, maybe iPhone 10s, they figured that out. But yeah, I'd really be interested in playing around with that, Renata. Thanks for that idea. I'm gonna try somehow.
That's
Maybe
also one thing we're good at, making suggestions or giving ideas. Is like, I've never really thought about that. I think I'll do that or try that anyway.
Yeah,
Right. Michael has a question. Michael Pointer. He wants to know this ties into a question that Cynthia had as well, I believe. Is that how much post editing are you doing? Are you doing any like dodging or burning or sharpening? And which goes into Cynthia's question too, is like, are you editing just natively or are you using other software?
I crop. Sometimes I crop, because sometimes there's an image that's like, like 4 feet wide and 12 feet long, but only 5 feet of it is really awesome. So I'll crop it into a 4x5. And occasionally, and I was thinking that this was cheating, so I wasn't really into doing this. And recently, in the Rogue Pano grouping, I showed some, and I actually had a little slideshow, and I was like, if this doesn't fit in, I'll remove it, because there was a couple places where I mirrored the image. And I use Photoshop when somebody buys a piece, when they order a piece, so that I keep the DPI proper while I'm doing it. But it's maybe a stupid point of pride. I really use Microsoft Paint as my, when I do post with these pieces, I do Microsoft Paint. And so I'll do like maybe a mirror image or a quadruple mirror. And sometimes it bugs me when people are like, oh, I love that one. And I'm like, it's not really symmetry. That's just a real, like, I just pulled that out of my sleeve. Like, that's such an easy trick, you know?
But if it works and it impresses somebody, it works. Like,
yeah.
I know, it's just, it can feel weird sometimes. Like, I spent 2 minutes on this. Why are you finding value in this? Stop it.
There's no cheating in Techspressionism either.
There isn't. No, there's no cheating. Everything that you're doing is valid.
You know, and that's what the guys in the Rogue Pano said to me as well. They're like, no, if I see a black spot and I see what you're doing here, I know what you're doing, then double it or triple it or mirror it, go right ahead. It's not cheating because it's already what it is. So I'm okay with that. I still have this like weird, goofy sense of pride of like, yeah, I use Microsoft Paint. You know, it's like, you couldn't be lower. Like, I mean, if you say I use GIMP, it's basically using Photoshop. But if you use Microsoft Paint, it's like, you know, people are like, what? That's so elementary. That's so, yeah. To me, it's like, yeah, it's that simple because the work is actually in the shooting of it, you know, but that's so far. I mean, I haven't gone into layering. I mean, I'm looking at some of the Techspressionist stuff with the layers and I'm like, I can look at some layering. I can, you know, I did recently take, I shot like this gloaming hour, you know, it was a very dark day, but I managed to get these shots that were all like 18 footers and I got like 11 of them and they're all variations on the same color theme, although there was a little bit more light creeping in each one. And I went back into Photoshop and I made this massive photo. I don't even know how many gigs it is, but I put them like in like a whole row and there's like 11 of them straight down. And I was like, oh, okay. So I would like to keep on exploring what to do, how I can push this. I don't know yet. I still feel like I like they don't fit. I mean, I like the fact that you're like, hey, no, it's part of the thing. And I'm glad you like Tommy there. And I'm maybe I'm not the only person that feels like an outsider sometimes. But,
Tommy's pointing out his long piece up there.
oh, beautiful. Oh, nice. Oh, wow. I hope. What? There we go. Oh my gosh. That's awesome.
Just about every salon is like show and tell for Tommy. It feels like sometimes.
I think it's 6 footer there for sure.
Yeah.
I think that's 6 foot. That looks like a 6 footer. Is it 6 feet, Tommy? It's Tommy height. It's a little taller. Tommy's taller too. Okay. Me, it would be like, I'd be like 5'5", so it's not that impressive.
This is the maquette. The real one is I had a 24-inch wide. I had the Epson 7600 for a while. This is a test print. I made it 2 rolls wide, so it's 48 inches by I think 16 feet. So 4 feet by 16 feet in the end. But I have that roll somewhere upstairs.
Nice. And what are you using? You have good cameras, I'm guessing.
I'm shooting, with a 50 megapixel now. But I mean, with this one, I was using a Olympus C5050 or something like that, which was each building is actually like 16 frames put together. And you can see that like the bottom, So I was just walking along, taking pictures, like you do, kind of, but not toothbrushing so much, right? Which I love, by the way, that effect that you get. And so you can sort of see how there's different frames that I've been stitching together. And the whole point of this was I was searching for pictures of people in their buildings, because I'm such a
Wow.
urban voyeur here, that I love imagining what people are doing in their windows. So this is all found images on Flickr, or one of those early photo sharing websites. Sorry to jump in, Lee, but welcome, really. I mean, any kind of use, I think, of these medium is adding to the sort of bouillabaisse here we have.
There's nobody here. There's nobody here that's going to be telling you, you can't do that. You're breaking the rules. You can't do that. Stop it.
Please.
No, I think most of us have actually been to a point where we've encountered that ourselves, and we're like, that's phooey. So
Yeah,
do what you.
I feel like it's phooey too, but it's kind of funny. Hi, Lee. My previous work that I was doing, I call it the space in between. It's all one line. It's this line that didn't end for almost 20 years, and for a while I was doing a series of sculptures that came off of my climate change work, which were dealing with investors and business people, and I'd take my notes in a mule skin, and I kept on telling the investors, I'm an artist, and that this is like out of my wheelhouse. And they're like, yeah, no, but this is good. We need that. So I'd stay there, and when nobody was looking, they thought I'd be taking notes, and I'd just keep on with my line. And I have like, and then I moved back to Montreal, and a lot of those jobs I burnt out, and I couldn't deal with business people. And then I found that I didn't have the rent money, even though my place is the cheapest place in the entire neighborhood. But I still needed money to pay my rent, and I had moved back to a city where nobody knew me, and so I got a job in a call center, sitting in a cubicle, and I thought, man, like before I moved back to Montreal, I was ghostwriting for Al Gore. I was like doing all this kind of stuff, and then I came back here, and I like the only job I can have is in a cubicle, asking if you had, did the teller smile at you at the bank, and I was like, what the hell am I doing here? And then they told me, here's orientation, here's how you behave in a cubicle, and you can't have a cell phone, you can't do this, you can't eat food, you can't read books, and all this stuff, which I didn't understand. And they explained to me downtime, and I never even heard that expression before. And they were like, most of the time that you're here, you're waiting to talk to somebody, and they're going to hang up on you, and then you got to wait for somebody else, but don't miss those calls. I was like, oh, okay, downtime. And then they're like, oh, but you can doodle. And I was like, okay, because before I was doing these lines, and I was like, I need 1,000 hours or like 10,000 hours with the pencil and paper. Who's got the time for that? And then they gave me that opportunity. And like I'm gonna pull some, here's some prints that I did before my printer died. I don't know if you can see this.
Yep.
But like this line, the line never ends. And I either put black on one side or half a rainbow on one side, and then the other side has half a rainbow. The other pieces are much larger, but all this became possible because I had this opportunity of sitting in a cubicle. So I stayed there for like 3 years, drawing. I was like so happy every day. I got better sketch paper and better pencils, and like by the end of it, I was like, okay, now I have like a thick body of these, and I'm gonna be able to blow these up, print them properly, paint them on canvas, and like, so I did that for a couple of years. I was all excited, and every time I'd meet a gallery owner, they'd be like, well, one gallery owner, in Quebec, there's a guy named Toussignan who just passed away, and he used to do these jagged lines, not quite like mine, but in not too dissimilar. And he was like, this gallery owner was like, oh, you got to come here, but then like I wouldn't show up at the right time, or I'm uncouth, and I don't know how to play the game, and I don't kiss butt properly. And all the other gallery owners I know were like, oh, that's just graphic work, and I'm like, you know what, I don't really care. And then the last thing before I found this camera, I got a bunch of about 30 paintings got borrowed by a bunch of psychologists who put 25 people in a room, told them all that they just did some psilocybin, and they watched them for 4 hours. But the study was really on placebos. And then afterwards, all these people in the interview are like, "Oh, it's fake? Well, then why was I staring at those paintings for 4 hours, and why were they shifting and melting?" I'm like, there you go. Thank you very much. So I don't care about the galleries. But at the same time, I did a show for MAPS, the Multidisciplinary Association for Psychedelic Studies. They did a fundraiser. I had a room full of these paintings, and I saw people with like pupils like this, and they were like all like staring at them, and they were like, "These are portals. How did you, well, like, okay, well, that's kind of, I've achieved my goals with this. And now on to the next thing. And the irony is I got this iPhone the week that I had to go to Toronto. For a year, I made some comments. I'm a bit of a smartass sometimes, and I made some comments in social media about the guy who used to be president there in the States. And also I worked on an app that somebody was making here called America's Second. No offense to anybody. It was just for like other countries to be able to buy local products. And I did this. I developed it. It was fun. It was a project. Then I started getting violent emails and like vitriol and anger and so much hatred. And ironically, just before that, my sister and I, we had a number of years where we weren't really close, and then we kind of became friends. And she was like, "Don't be a hermit. Like, at least be on Facebook." I was like, "Fine, okay." So I started Facebook, and then I'm getting all this hatred for this app that I was developing, and then I decided I can't deal with this, so I'm gonna one up you all, and every day I started posting pictures that I'd find on Reddit from this subreddit called Pictures of Blurry Cats, or Blurry Pictures of Cats. I just post blurry cats. I post blurry cats every day, and I said I have to point. And then I found one that was like phi ratio, and I was like, "Oh, okay, I have to print 1,000, post 1,300, or I forget what the number is now, but I did that. I posted that many blurry cats, and the irony is there's this really fancy gallery in Toronto, like government sanctioned and like high end A-list artists, and I didn't know any of the artists there, but I have a friend who came to the show with me who was a bit of a mucky muck, and she was like, "Do you know who's in the show?" That gallery was like, "Hey, we want those blurry cats," and I was like, they're not mine. I just found them on the internet. They're like, "Doesn't matter, it's art." And I'm like, "It's not art. Like, I do these paintings that take me like a month and a half to finish, and the photos I just grab and drop, and like they're like, doesn't matter." So I made a bunch of blurry cat collages for them in Toronto, and then I come back to Montreal, and then all of a sudden people are like, "Oh, you showed it to Johnny Berg, huh?" And I'm like, "You guys are all insane, you know." But with these photos, all of a sudden I'm like, I feel like I'm getting somewhere, or I'm doing something. And I mean, I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, who knows with climate change? Who knows if we're going to have food in another 2 years? And also I got this is too much information, but I got some weird disease a couple of years ago. It doesn't really affect me too much. Sometimes it makes me unable to do things. The weirdest thing is sometimes it makes my vision look like this. So when it was happening to me, I was like, "Well, this is really interesting." And then I mentioned it to an ophthalmologist, and he was like, "Oh no, okay, we're getting an MRI." And so I got MRIs. I had to get a deal. I know what's going on now. But what happened was, like, now I have some medication, which is insane. Thank heavens I live in Montreal, because the pills cost $60 a pill. But they stopped me from eating my brain, stopped this thing happening. But what it basically made me realize is life is too short to give a shit. And I just, pardon my language, but I mean, like, really, if I show in a gallery, that's wonderful. If I get a nice show, and like, really right now, I think my pieces are too big size wise. If I do it 4 feet by 18, how is your gallery big enough? but like, so I don't know what's going to happen. So I'm much more interested in the creative process. And if I can do stuff that the odd person really likes, and, now lately, I mean, once every 2 months, I guess once a month, somebody says they want to buy one, but once every 2 months, somebody says, okay, here's money. I'm sending you money. I'm going to get one. And I'm like, wow, this is really interesting. And I'm really enjoying it. But again, it's like, if it happens, it happens. And if it doesn't, I'm not going to, like, I want to make sure we have food. I want to make sure that we don't have a sea level rising. And that thing, like I was mentioning Colin at the beginning, this rock dust is amazing. And it takes carbon out of the atmosphere faster than anything. It was finally peer reviewed by Nature this past year. And then I found a whole bunch of people. I mean, a lot of them have like these like direct air capture, like big machines and high technology with chemicals. But then there's a whole lot of natural ways, like growing kelp farms or doing things that can have like really quick drawdown of carbon dioxide. So, I mean, like, I love making art, and I love this. I love being able to share with artists, but at the same time, like gallery owners, like, I hope there's no gallery owners here. I don't mean to insult anybody, but I just, I don't have time to, like, life's too short to care what they, I mean, I wish it'd be great if I was suave and not a bet, but I feel like, I really like this group because I've always felt like an outsider of outsiders. Like, I've got too much of an art education to be a real outsider artist. And I have sometimes people look at my work and they're like, oh, well, obviously you went to art school. And I'm like, oh yeah, I guess, and so they don't fit in with the outsiders. And when I was in this band that I mentioned at the beginning of this talk, it was a whole bunch of people dealing with angst, so much angst, and trying to get it out in the music, which is wonderful and kind of cathartic. But I was a bit too happy-go-lucky, and I was like really interested in making cool images, and they were like, you just don't get it. We're like struggling with our angst and with the bombs, and like our record label is owned by a munitions company, and do you know what it's like? And I'm like, no, I don't. I'm sorry for you, but I'll go off and make another movie about climate change and how, like, they're always been about how we can stop climate change. Unfortunately, because they started in the 90s, it would be nice if they were more accessible.
Hey Lee, I know the story that you've been giving has been great for everyone, but we're like right at the like edge of our typical recording time at 4:00. And I know there are actually some questions that haven't been asked yet, but we can still ask those. It's going to be after the recording process is done, because we like try to keep it right at 2 hours. That being said, we're formally wrapping things up at this time. So thank you all for attending. Thank you all for your presentations. And thank you very much, our two presenters, for your presentations. They were great. And thank you all for being here. So that being said, I'll see you next time. So thank you very much.
You want to give us a countdown to
The end?
shut down?
Sure. Let's start with 5 hands. So closing out in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1.